I am going to click the button to start the recording. And sorry for the delay. I'm doing techie things in the background. Let's hello. All right. This meeting will be recorded, and we want to warn you of that up front. We do typically post the replay on YouTube, and we may carve out excerpts from it that are especially wonderful to share. Also, if something happens that is exceptionally awful, we can edit that out. We can edit reality. That is one of the virtues of online. So welcome to Online Presenters Toastmasters. This is a club that focuses on learning skills for better webinars and online events of all sorts. One of the ways we've been doing that is by organizing a series of workshop events. And on December 11th, we'll have a world champion of public speaking, Darren LaCroix, coming to visit with us. Here, let's see. Okay, that's what Darren had to say about why you should join. I hope you heard that. I don't think I did the audio setup quite right for that. We do also have Cheryl Rausch coming to visit us on January 22nd as a guest speaker. She's a very well-known professional speaker and coach to speakers. There is a survey that I sent around about what you'd like to learn when she visits. She did also sign up to be a guest at Darren's appearance, so you'll get a chance to meet her a little bit ahead of time and can give her some clues then as well about what you'd like to learn from Cheryl. But please do respond to that survey. Thank you to Ring Central for allowing us to use the Ring Central Meetings platform at no cost, no choice. It is part of their broader communications platform, and I do want to let you know that Ring Central is winning in the cloud. We suggest as basics for online meeting that you know how to mute and unmute yourself. It's a good idea to use earbuds or some kind of headset to prevent audio feedback, and to mute your mic when it's not your turn. So the mute unmute button is in the lower left-hand corner. Some people get terribly confused because they also have a button on their microphone. And so they'll double mute themselves and only unmute by one method. So it's probably good to stick to one or the other. You can also turn your video on and off, but we do want to see you. We want to see who we are meeting with. There are a couple of different modes for this online meeting tool. There is a gallery view where you get to see everybody, and there is an active speaker view, and you can go back and forth between the two of those. How to become a member. As I mentioned, we're changing this a little bit. We still want you to come to at least 2 meetings as a guest. The applications and online payment stuff is all on the join page of our website. It is an advanced club. It's not intended for absolute beginners. So if you don't have experience in Toastmasters, at least 6 speeches given in Toastmasters, you have to ask for an exception, and we ask you to make a short speech. The board has to vote. We actually have said yes more than we've said no, but we're partly trying to give people some advance warning that we're not going to spend as much time on the basics and that they're going to have to try and keep up. With that, let's do it. I'm going to turn the host controls over to our Toastmaster of the day, Jim. And Jim, you will see a little extra mute all button appear on the participants panel that allows you to mute everybody if we do have any audio problems along the way. Jim, you're now the host. I'm going to mute myself and let you run the meeting.
Well, thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, and welcome Toastmasters and guests. Like most Toastmasters meetings, this one is also in 3 parts. In this club, we do it a little differently than we do it in the club that I'm used to, but that's part of the deal here. We start out with prepared speeches. Speeches from the manuals where you get manual credit. And then we go into table topics, the second part. That's impromptu speaking. Lewis Brown will be our table Topics Master today. And then finally, we'll get to the evaluations, where I think is really the most important part of a Toastmasters meeting. It's unlike any other program out there where you get a loving evaluation and some good criticism, hopefully. We have some supporting roles here, and I'd like to go around and remember to unmute yourselves. We have an awe counter today, and that role is Deborah Carr. Are you here? Let us know what you're doing.
I'm here, and I will be counting out the filler words, the as, ums, so, if you so a lot, and things like that. So, and what I do is, rather than in the clubs that I had belonged to previously, there were some clubs that counted every single one, and they would tell the people, you know, from 1 on. With me, I believe someone here had given the total, and I think that's the answer. So I'll just give the total rather than pointing anyone out.
I like that here too.
I think that'll work great.
Thank you, Toastmaster Carr. Our timer today is Toastmaster David Carr, no relation. David, how's our timing going to happen today?
First, I'm going to unmute myself.
That's a good idea.
I will do timing for the table topics, the formal speeches, and the evaluations. I'm playing with SparkoCam today, so when we get to the green light, you will see that. Here's yellow, here's red.
Oh.
And because we do have, sometimes there's an issue with people losing track of the video feed of the timer, I also do a little chime with a wine glass at each mark point, and if you blow your time by more than 30 seconds, you may hear me clapping you off as well, so that we can move on with things.
Or we could just mute them. Our grammarian today is Toastmaster Christian Ramchun. What the grammarian?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm a grammarian who hasn't slept that much over the last 5 to 6 days. That's the appearance that you see right now. As grammarian, my role is twofold. Number one, to pay attention to the use of grammar in this session, namely incorrect use of grammar and memorable application of grammar. And I will give my report on these at the end of the session. The second role for tonight for the grammarian is to provide the word of the day, which is winsome. And thank you, Lois, for sharing the definition of the word winsome, which is attractive or appealing in a fresh, innocent way. For example, and in a winsome smile, which I don't have right now, I'm going to try to apply it. So a winsome smile, attractive or appealing in a fresh, innocent way. I will pay attention to who uses the word of the day. I'll try to post it as often as I can in the chat without being harassing. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ramchun. Our watcher today is Toastmaster Jem Dent. Tell us what the watcher does, Jem.
Okay, today I'm going to do something a little different. Typically, the watcher watches everybody's avatar, and I'm going to describe it in the words of one of Sting's songs, which is, every move you make, every winsome appearance you make, every smile you fake, and every claim you stake, I'll be watching you. So I'll be watching all the avatars and see how everybody's appearance is. Hopefully everybody's winsome today.
Okay, Mr. Grammarian, you got 2 on that one. I like that. And you can put my winsome down too. Our vote counter and is Toastmaster Monica Tucker. Let us know what is going on with that.
As vote counter, at the end of each of the speaking sessions, I will count the votes as people send them to me, and then I will let everyone know who the winners are.
Okay, and we'll try and remind everyone of the timing because there are timing requirements. We'll get to that too. I guess we're ready for a speech. Is everyone ready?
Jim, I do have an update. Apparently our guest speaker will not be able to attend this evening after all. So I think we're going to go with 2 speeches and a few more table topics for this evening.
That sounds just fine with me. Okay, so we'll get into the speakers today. Did we have an order that we needed, or shall we go with what was listed here?
I think we've been trying to follow the order on the agenda. Yes.
Okay, then our first speech today is from Toastmaster Dagmara Sitek. Is that correct? Sitek. Dagmara? She was here earlier.
Yes, Sitek.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I see that you're speaking today. It's a project number 3 from the Competent Communicators. Get to the point.
That's right.
So let's welcome to our online club, Toastmaster Dagmara Sitek.
Thank you, Jim. Is anyone here a small business owner? Because I'm also a small business owner, and one of my biggest worry is how to get my services in the front of the biggest number of customers possible. In marketing, they call this reach. And reach is a very important metric because before we start to engage people and tell them about our services, first we need to reach out to them, right? So small business owners are trying in the last few years to get their reach on social media. However, recently it is getting more difficult to get your reach on social media. That's why today I will be speaking about 3 reasons why it is so difficult to achieve greater reach in social media networks. So let's start with the reason number 1. The reason number 1 is that our attention spans are getting shorter. According to the Canadian survey by Microsoft, our attention spans decreased from 12 seconds to 8. It's shorter than a goldfish. It is terrible. We live in our digitalized lifestyles and we have so many distractions that it's really hard to catch our attention. The reason number 2 why it's so difficult to get reach on social media is that people are tuning out promotional content. Right? If we go to social media, we don't go there with an intent to buy something. We have Amazon for that. If we go for social media, we just want to talk with our friends, want to socialize. Someone are checking their ex-boyfriend or girlfriends, different reason, but not necessarily buying stuff. And another thing is that the ads are becoming really intrusive. I hate that because last time I remember I was sitting in the waiting room. I opened my phone and then some video ads popped out and everyone knew suddenly what I'm doing. It was so embarrassing. And the worst of all are these retargeting ads when they're following you wherever you go. Retargeting ads basically work like this, that marketers know that you visited their website or maybe watched their video, so they will be targeting you since you will buy something. They will be just following you with their ads. So it's getting really, really creepy. So this is the one reason. The second reason why it's so difficult to get reach, because people just don't want this promotional content. It's getting very, very annoying and creepy. The third reason why it's difficult to get more reach on social media, it is correlated with previous reasons. And it is because it is getting more expensive. So as our attention spans are shorter and we hate ads, we will be tuning them out, we will be ignoring them. So marketers or small business owners will be just pushing more ads in the front of us. So, but this scene is very crowded in social media. So there's a lot of competitors, and this is so-called a bidding war. So who pay more? This person will get better reach, right? So the prices for 1,000 impression or reach is getting higher. Obviously, small business owners, they cannot afford to win this war with large or medium-sized companies. So this is getting a very difficult scene for us, social media. So what is the solution, you might ask? Well, I would say that one of the suggestions would be to create your own community. You can do that by going to Facebook and creating your own group. This is the great way how you can expand your organic reach. So you don't have to pay for that. You just pay for that with your time, but not necessarily with money. And yeah, that's a great way to just start building your community. People will be trusting you. You can have control over your group, so they won't be tuning out your content. Why? Because they will be searching for your group in Facebook search, so they will go there as volunteers. Nobody's pushing your app, and we are more, and let's guys our reach. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dagmara. Excellent speech. How, Toastmaster Carr, our timer today, how did Toastmaster Dagmara do?
That was about 5:56, so very good.
All right, our next speaker today, Govindarajan Murali is his full name. I hope I got that even close. He goes by Murali. He's been with Toastmasters for about 10 years. He served at various roles in many clubs and districts. He lives in Okemos, Michigan, with his wife and 2 sons. He's an IT project manager and is currently looking for a job. Have you tried to check out TechSmith? He will give an icebreaker speech, first titled Reflecting Me in the Online Presenters Club. Please join me in welcoming Murali.
Raise your hands if you drank coffee today. That's a few things. The last time I drank coffee or any caffeinated drinks was about 12 years back. That's a pretty long time. Fellow Toastmasters and aspiring Toastmasters, reflecting me is the speech today. To know about me, there are 3 words that defines me. The 3 words are determination, decision, donation. These are the 3 words that is defining me. Let me explain these things. The determination. I'm basically a project manager, and there is a certification for project manager. It's a project management professional from the Project Management Institute. When my company was contracting a job, contracting a project to the state of Michigan, a long time back, there was a study group for aspiring project manager professional certification. So one of the project managers of the state was conducting that one, and one time they want to meet on a Saturday. Saturdays, state buildings are not closed, are not open. So what the project manager told is he called my president and asked them to open his office on a particular Saturday. My president called me, okay, you are nearby to this office, you go and open it. So I felt a little bit slighted that time. So should I just go for open the door and give some refreshments just for the sake of the other people doing some studies? That time I made a decision. I should do this certification also. So I have a habit of making some targets. So closely and seriously on this preparation. In addition to my full-time work, I'm spending late nights. I when I was taking my children to karate class, Kumon class, everything, I would be reading my folders. Or any kind of functions, I will be waiting on the parking lot to read it. So at the third week, I was confident that I can clear this exam easily. So I preponed my exam date by one more week. So instead of 6 weeks, it is 5 weeks, and I passed that exam. So this is one sort of determination. And the other one is I have lost my job at the end of April this year. So until now, it is still to get a new job. But this is more determined to get my life going back to the normal routine. So if you have any leads, you can always give me the things. I just chatted in the chat window my LinkedIn profile. You can communicate with me. So moving on to my second definition, the decision. So how do I make decisions? There are two ways I follow. One is the laughing method, where if there is a dilemma of choosing A or B, I would go for a toss of a coin. That is the lighter side. But if there are other things, there is another way of making cold turkey instead of gradual reduction. About 12 years back, on March 15th, when I got back from the bed, the March 15th happened to be my dad's birthday. I just decided, let me stop all the caffeine drinks. You should know how difficult it is because I was addict to the caffeine. I drink coffee and tea put together about 15 cups a day. 15. To make it as a cold turkey is a great torture. So what will happen? The withdrawal symptoms. The first week was terrible, and that was the time my wife and my younger son came up with a great idea. Dad, why don't you make a pond in the backyard? I need a pond there. So I channelized my energy to create that pond. So let me share that. I'm sharing my screen here. Are you able to see it?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, let me do one more share screen. How about now?
No, not yet.
Okay, what am I doing wrong here? I clicked the share screen one time and then opened my image, and then I went into the second. Anyway, it is a beautiful pond, and that has gone back into very beautiful after the addition of greens over the years. So let me proceed further on that one. So I'm coming back to this second definition, that is decision is done. So where is my screen? So let me go back to this third one, that is donation. The donation is not the money or time or manual efforts or intellectual efforts. The donations I'm referring is a very different kind. It is kind of blood donations, then organ donation, brain donation, like that. So this is my brain donation card. This is from the Harvard Brain Tissue Research Center. So Toastmasters and honored guests. The three words that can define me are determination, decision, and donation. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Murali. Toastmaster David Carr, our timer today. How did our Toastmaster do for his speech?
By my reckoning, a little bit over. So it's supposed to be 6 minutes with a 30-second grace. We got to about 6:45. Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Life goes on.
I think that's fine.
Actually, since I'm unmuted for the moment, before we start table topics, let me do one small bit of business. Well, it's not a small bit of business at all. which is the election of a new VP of Education. Fabiola had let us know that she would like to step back from that role because she's not always able to make it. Has some other personal issues. And Adrian is right now the person who has volunteered. If there are any other nominations, I'd like to hear them now. Anybody else want to nominate themselves or tap somebody else on the shoulder and draft them? If not, can we have a vote to confirm Adrian as our new VP of Education?
And I already have my credentials. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I already have my credentials, so if someone needs it for the requirement to become Distinguished Toastmaster, then I can assist them in that role.
Oh,
Right.
that's great.
So we're leaving room for somebody else to step up and volunteer. Adrian will back you up, and so will Fabiola. But if not, Adrian's willing to do the work, and that would be lovely. We do need to put somebody new in the role. Any other nominations? All right, if not, can we do a voice vote by acclamation?
Okay.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Of course,
If
I'm
you're
voting for
muted,
myself.
wave your hands. All right, all right. You've been drafted, Adrian.
Any opposed?
Thank you so much. And let's give it back to Jim to take us on to table topics.
No
Oh,
problem.
now I'm all
Thank
messed
you.
up. I don't know where I am in my list. Table topics. That's the second part of this meeting. And we have someone here. Lewis Brown is going to be our table topics master. Take it away, Toastmaster Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And just a few quick tidbits. I just wanted to let Morelli know, in case he didn't see the chat window, that if you were still drinking coffee, you probably would have finished your speech in 3 minutes. I'm not sure about that. Also, you may not know, there was just a recent study that came out that coffee is good for you, of course, within limits. 3 cups a day helps with dementia and a few other things that they talked about. You know, it's always like good, bad, good, bad. So the latest news is it's good. So if you were to start drinking again, it would be great. Anyway, that's my coffee soapbox for the day. Table topics. We're going to do a slightly different approach to table topics. However, the approach is completely in line with what our club is about. I would like all of our table topics contestants to pretend you are speaking, well, not pretend, but actually do this. Speak to the camera. Don't look at the tiles, but look at your camera. Be convincing, be winsome in your delivery of your table topic, because you will be giving video toastimonials. That is the theme of the table topics today. Toastimonials for all things Toastmasters. I ask, and by the way, table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. I won't ask our timer to give us the lighting sequence since we all know what that is, and I'd really like to get as many table topics contestants in here as we can. And also one last thing is for the audience to, when you are judging a topics winner, be sure to look for things like that the speakers are looking at the camera and that they are convincing. Okay, everyone on board with what we are doing here? Thank you. Video testimonials. And of course, I'm only going to call on people who do not have a speaking role. You know who you are. Okay, our first topic is you have just attended your first Toastmasters Club meeting of your life. Please share a testimonial, your first online presenters Toastmaster meeting, I will add. Please share a testimonial about why the club is so great and other people should join. Toastmaster Carol Prahinsky.
Ooh, I am so excited to have attended my first meeting at Online Presenters. I'll tell you, this was not what I anticipated. And in particular, the thing that really struck me was how engaged I feel afterwards. I feel like I could just be doing this for hours. And I think I will. I think I'll stay up all night and do some additional research about some of the topics that we were talking about. And how do I better prepare to be able to speak more effectively online? Because I don't always do that. And there are times that I'm talking to students or to other people, and I wonder, is there another way that I could do this? Can I do a poll just like that was done online today at our meeting? How did they do that? And how did they do that green screen? And how did they do? Anyway, I could spend hours, and I think I did spend hours my first night doing additional research about how exciting I felt about online presenters. I was engaged like I have not been in a number of years. Thrilled to be actively engaged with this club and thrilled to be part of this winsome group of Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Carol Prahinsky. Our next video testimonial. You have just attended your very first speech contest. Please provide a testimonial of your experience. Toastmaster Fabiola.
Oh my, that was an experience. When they first asked me to be a participant, I said, no way. I'm very comfortable being at club, giving my speeches, prepared speeches, getting evaluations, but being judged? Oh my, no, that's not for me. But can you imagine? That was the best experience I ever had. It was a winsome experience in the sense that I got to engage with the audience. I had to control my nerves, taking on the stage and looking at the audience, and a big audience, not so small as my club. So for me, that was something that I didn't think I could enjoy that much. And I learned a lot also. I learned how to control my nerves, and seeing all those experienced Toastmasters with all their speeches, and some of them very experienced one. More than once they have participated at a contest. But wow, I think this is going to be my next level. Just participate at any contest that I can find to participate on. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fabiola. Wonderful testimonial. Our third testimonial. You have just attended your first district conference. Please give us your video testimonial. Toastmaster Rolando Goldman.
Wow, what a conference. I'm glad I made it to that conference. I learned so much. Wow. I wish I've been doing this for a while. For the past 3 years, this is the first conference that I attended. What have I been doing? Why did I miss the previous conference? I missed so much. I'm not gonna miss any more conferences. I took some classes here. I learned this. I learned so many things that I think I'm gonna always be present in all the conferences now. Regardless, doesn't matter if I have to work, whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna drop it off just to attend the conferences. I thought maybe just by doing my local club, that was enough. But I get to a point that the local club, sometimes I get used to it. I get used to the people, then I feel comfortable. But when I get to the conferences, I see so many different people I'm interacting with. I need to be more open. I need to open up so I can be not shy and be able to express myself. The conference taught me so much that from now on, I said to myself, I'm gonna have to recruit different people to go with me so I can be motivated to go there every year so I can be my best. Mr. Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rolando Goldman. Awesome. You have just completed your first speech in Toastmasters, your icebreaker. Please give us a video testimonial of your experience. Toastmaster Chris Gold.
Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, it was pretty cool. I remember my first Toastmasters speech. I was, I think, 15 years old, and I had just returned with my family from a trip to Guatemala where I learned the Spanish alphabet. My parents took me out of school for half of the year, but I learned more in that travel to Guatemala than I would have ever learned in the second half of third grade. A, B, C, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, Y, Z. I could still recite the Spanish alphabet, and that is one thing I did during my Toastmasters speech as a junior Toastmistress in 1964. Mr. Topic Master.
Muy bueno, Toastmaster Chris Gold. Mr. Toastmaster of the day, do we have time for any more?
I believe we do. We only had 2 speeches today, so I think we have time for at least one more.
Awesome. Okay, you have just completed your term as an officer. Your very first time being a Toastmaster officer. You just completed your term. Please give us your video testimonial on this incredible experience and why others should become a Toastmaster leader. Toastmaster Lois Margolin.
It was fabulous. I was so glad that I decided to actually be the Vice President of Membership. It's one of those experiences that unless you actually do it, you can't appreciate how many people you meet. Not only is it sending out emails and welcoming people and showing them how they can use the program, but you know what? There's an inner joy that you get just by being part of this group, because you know what? This club, Online Presenters, is one of the best clubs around. And I have to tell you, it is an advanced club, and you could tell that by just all the amazing Toastmasters that have joined this club. I'm honored to be on the board, and I'm actually going to miss it. I can't believe I'm going to be off. Oh, you know, that Vice President of Education role was really looking good, but I had to defer to Adrienne because I knew how much she wanted that role. But you know what? I was sorry to lose it, and I'm going to be sorry to give up this Vice President of Membership and welcome everybody and send all these emails out and make up these certificates and induct, not install, but induct the new members. And just think, in a couple of months, you can take over that role and have just as much pleasure as I am, because this club rocks it. Mr. Table Topic Master.
Very nice, Toastmaster Lois Margolin. Do we have time for one more Toastmaster? Or are we there?
You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, Mr.
I'm on the wrong one. Yeah, one more if you have someone.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so our final video testimonial. You have just completed your last project or speech to achieve your DTM. So please, which is Distinguished Toastmaster, for those guests who may not know what that means, please give us your video testimonial on why this has been the most incredible journey of your life. Toastmaster Magda.
Storytelling. Who would have thought that it's got such an impact in life? I personally enjoy technical presentations because I love biology. But I was shaken out of my little cage a little bit. And then I discovered I really love storytelling. I've learned so much how to present on camera. Too many things actually to mention. It was really a pleasureful journey. It was also interesting to see how I was evaluated in all the different aspects of these speeches. I came to realize it's really a matter of personal opinion. Everyone is on a different stage, and that is the fun of it. It's no use getting upset about the evaluation that you think was not well-rounded, because next time you will be asked to do a pathways presentation. Would you be up to it? I can tell you it's fun being in Toastmasters, and every speech is like a wonderful present that you can open up and enjoy it like a luxurious item that's smoothing your soul. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster, Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Magna, and that completes the Table Topics session. Quick recap of all of our speakers. We had Toastmaster Carol Prahinsky, Toastmaster Fabiola, Toastmaster Rolando Goldman, Toastmaster Chris, Toastmaster Lois, and Toastmaster Magda. Please vote for the most convincing and winsome video testimonial character from that group. Please privately send your vote to Toastmaster Monica Tucker, and I pass control back over to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the night, or day, or evening, or afternoon, wherever anyone is at.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master Lewis Brown. Great job today. A lot of really good, compelling table topics. Great. So we have two evaluators tonight. I can get right into those. Evaluating our first speaker today, Toastmaster Dagmara, will be Toastmaster Norman Dow. Toastmaster Dow, take it away.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and Dagmara. I don't believe in coincidence, but today I was writing the social media plan of a business plan, and I did not know I'd be evaluating you. I really enjoyed your speech. You wanted to get to the point, and you had a variety of potential things that you were trying to do. To me, it was obvious that you were trying to inform us on social media marketing. I think you did that very, very well. Laying out front the reasons it's difficult, giving a potential solution to the problem, summarizing what you did, what we could do in order to overcome that as small business people. I liked especially how you engaged us by asking at the front, how many of us are small business owners? And talked about how we needed to deal with the reach as small business owners. One thing when you mentioned reach and the metrics that are associated with it, I was looking for a definition of the metric. You kind of left that alone and just plunged into the body of the speech. But overall, I thought it was extremely informative. I think you achieved your goal of staying to the point. You engaged us, and definitely was really, really appropriate for this particular audience. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to hearing many more speeches by you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dow. Evaluating our second speaker with an icebreaker will be Toastmaster George Marshall. Toastmaster Marshall.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. And welcome, Morale. I enjoyed your speech. The things that I thought were really good about it was you sounded sincere. You're quite clear. And I also felt like you projected credibility, which is, I think, a valuable introduction. You introduced yourself in the way of an icebreaker very well, and used 3 terms to define yourself. I thought that was original, and it worked fairly well. I must say that your presentation did sound a bit like preparing for an interview, but since you said you are looking for a new position, that seems that you have made a good use of Toastmaster to practice for an interview. So I applaud you for using that. Some things you might consider working on. I corresponded with you privately prior to the speech. You asked me about a couple of things. I would suggest you could smile a little bit more. While your expression was pleasant, I think you probably intended to be look more friendly and project a little bit more of a smile than perhaps you did. So it wasn't negative, but since you asked me specifically to address that topic, I did. The second thing that I noticed is very specific to our online environment. You appeared to be looking mostly down and to the right. That's where your notes were, I suspect, as you went over your material. But in camera, when we're not looking directly at the camera, it's really noticeable. When I look down to my notes on my evaluation, I think everyone can tell what I was doing there. Even if I just glance, you can do it. So I would say you could work harder on that. And let me give you a very specific technique that I've used to advantage. One is consider where you position your camera. The other way is to carefully and politely take your piece of paper and fasten it to your monitor very, very close to your camera. Some people have even talked about cutting a hole in the piece of paper and surrounding the camera with it. That actually does work fairly well. Anyway, eye contact online really means looking at the camera, and I would suggest that you consider it a little bit more if you're going to be doing more online interviews. The last thing that I would mention is time management. You had three concepts. You had determination, decision, and donation. You spent a lot of time on determination. You spent some time on decision, and it looks like you really got in a big hurry and finished up on donation. So you might reconsider whether, if you did something like that again, whether you actually want to try to touch on all three of those, or whether you want to reapportion the amount of time you spent on each one. Overall, I thought you projected credibility, sincerity, and hey, if I were a hiring manager in Michigan, I would hire you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Excellent. Thank you, Toastmaster Marshall. It's good to see you, sir. How did our evaluators do, Mr. Timer? David Carr.
I think our evaluators did better than the timer did. This is my first time doing the timing job, and it's actually quite tough in terms of juggling. George Marshall was at 259, and actually I'm not quite sure where Norman was, but I think he was cool. Table topics people, by the way, were all between 110 and 130 or so. I think Magda was the longest at 140. So everybody did a good job of managing their time for table topics
so
as well.
Everybody qualifies. That sounds great for our evaluators. Go ahead and do a private chat there with your choice of your best evaluator of the evening or morning or wherever you happen to be, and also your best table topics speaker today. And we'll try and get to those at the very end. We have a general evaluator. It's time for Toastmaster Adrienne Williams. General evaluation. Take it away, Toastmaster.
Hello, everyone, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I thought that everyone did a great job on the evaluations. One of the things that would have been better is when we have our speakers, it is very important to state the objectives of the speech, because we are all listening to someone speak, how they organize their speech, and it's important for us to know if those speakers meet the objective of the speech. It goes beyond just us being able to get up and do a speech. How well are you giving the best possible speech that you can? That would include your body language, vocal variety, and all of the different components that we talk about in Toastmasters from the first manual, the Competent Communicator Manual. Our body language, how we express ourselves, facial expressions, yes, no, hello everyone, or just some of the points I thought when you used body language to count. My first point, my second point, those were good. That was positive feedback we could have given on body language. But overall, We did a great job. I thought the table topics were excellent. I felt like I was at an impromptu contest. I was so glad I wasn't in it today because this is truly an advanced club, and you can tell that, especially when you come from a club where there may not be as much competition. There's a lot of competition in this club because everyone's a seasoned speaker, and it really helps us all to be the best that we can, especially since these videos go viral over the internet. We want to have our best presentation going forward. So it's important to think that when you see yourself on video and you don't smile once in an hour and a half, it may not be as inviting to someone that may want to hire you. So you have to remember to have some type of energy to bring the club, the online club environment, to be similar to a brick and mortar club, which comes with a lot of energy. Other than that, we did a great job. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to give it back to our table topics. Well, I'm sorry, our Toastmaster, because I'm in a situation where I don't have privacy to block the noise in the background.
Okay.
Okay, for him to call the speeches and the rest of the reports. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian.
Mr. Toastmaster.
Got it. I think I'm here. Am I? Yeah, I must be. So we had some other reports. We have a grammarian today. How did our speakers and folks do today?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. There were good use of English grammar and structure as well. So here are some examples I heard. The reach on social media. The word intrusive was also well used. Maximize our reach again. Then there was a good use of determination, decision, and donation. And the term cold turkey, I'd never heard of it. I looked it up. It was well used in terms of overcoming an addiction, cold turkey. Then there's always areas for improvement. And here are some of the improvements I picked up on. Our attention span is shorter than a goldfish. I was expecting our attention span is shorter than that of a goldfish. There's also the practice of using an article, for example, a pronoun. The example is the second reason why is so difficult to get. It should be the second reason why it is so difficult to get. So there was a tendency to miss out on the pronoun. I have a habit of making some targets. I was expecting I have a habit of setting some targets. 2 ways I follows. It should be 2 ways I follow. And I heard the word caffeine. I was expecting caffeine, but I think that's because of the cold turkey kicking in. Nevertheless, very, very good use of grammar, especially from the table topic speakers. And the word of the day was used 5 times. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Christian. There we go. Okay, our watcher today, Toastmaster Jen Dent.
Okay. I've watched everybody. I didn't see anything happening in the background that was distractive. Congratulations. Sometimes in some meetings, there's a lot of movement going on in the background or a lot of really strange noise. Everybody's face was relatively centered or slightly off-centered, and it seemed to be appropriate. One of the things I might remind people is to remember, consider the lighting. Look at your thing. If you can adjust your lighting, try to do that. You may not be able to do it immediately, but you might want to try to adjust the lighting separately yourself sometimes. A few people did turn their camera off. That's a good practice to do if you're going to do something that might be distracting. Or if you realize your camera is freezing up, it makes it more sense, or if your audio is freezing up, because it'll tend to make people not call on you if your image is not there. George made a good comment earlier about eye contact. So a lot of time, and it's a very difficult thing to get in the habit, is to look at the camera when you're talking, because you tend to want to look at different people, just like you do in a brick and mortar club. And that winds up, when I'm looking down here at Chris, it doesn't look like I'm looking at the camera. And it's a tough habit to break. So all I can say is practice it and see if you can perfect looking at the camera more often. And George's tip of by putting a smiley face or some image up there right next to the camera, that image is who you talk to rather than the avatars down on the screen. Thanks, George. That's all I have. Back to you, Jim.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that one. So our all counter today, who was doing that? Deborah Carr.
I'm here. The total was 19. We had 19 eyes, thumbs, or sewing. so we'll stop sewing and just be more mindful. But not bad, not bad.
Okay, thank you. The chat monitor, how are things in our chat? I was trying to follow along, but there's a lot going on.
Yes, I tried to follow along as best as I could, and I didn't see that there was any 911 calls or anything like that. Everything went smoothly. I especially like the way people compliment each other, and they use that as a little note to make personal evaluations. I think that's good, very good. That's it.
Okay, very cool. One more person, the timer. Anything out of time?
I think I've already given most of my reports along the way, and all I can say is I tried to model Arlene's habits for how to do the timer roll, and she does a great job.
All right.
I am still learning.
Toastmasters don't apologize. Okay.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yes, sir.
So that about wraps it up for this particular Toastmasters meeting, or at least my part of it. I'll return control of this Toastmasters meeting to our president, Toastmaster David Carr. Thank you, Toastmaster Carr.
All right. Great job, Jim. Thank you very much. My major piece of business to close out the meeting is to make sure that we ask our guests what they thought of the experience today, or we hope that it's good. We hope that you come back. One other thing I will mention before I get to that, though, is that we do need somebody to step into the Sergeant-at-Arms role. So I have no volunteers for that as of yet. The major thing that the Sergeant of Arms does is, just like the Sergeant of Arms at your brick and mortar club gets the room ready, the Sergeant of Arms here gets the virtual room ready. Welcomes guests who show up a little bit early, helps troubleshoot things a little bit. So we need somebody who can show up on a fairly regular basis and assist with some of that. So we can, if anybody wants to volunteer before the end of the meeting, great. If not, please contact me afterwards. Having said that, though, let's hear from Philip, Colleen, and Clarissa, starting with Philip.
Okay, Mr. President, David, as usual, I really find the meetings really, really good. I am getting to the point where I am a member of 3 local clubs, 2 online clubs, and it's coming to the time when I may run out of time because I have other situations. I have a lot of other things to do, and being that I'm the president right now of my main club, it's a lot of work involved. But I would love to visit you again next week.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Colleen.
Hi, I think it's Colleen here. Everyone's very welcoming, and it's kind of like a picture of my club, but it's very confusing with all the gizmos and things on the screen and the chat and all the pictures. And this is my second online one. At the other one, most of the people kept their cameras off and there weren't as many people as here. But it's a great experience, and I have to come back just to figure out how to use all this technology.
All right, terrific. And I'm sorry, Arlene, you had something you wanted to say?
Yes, winners of the day.
Oh, yes, that's true.
It was, that was my fault. Oh, it's his fault. Okay.
Well, actually, since we're doing the guest comments, let's ask for Clarissa to give her feedback on the meeting, and then we'll come back to our vote counter.
Hello, everyone. This is Clarissa. Can you see me? My camera.
We can. We can. Yep.
Good.
Great. Well, I can tell you that this has been a very, very wonderful experience for me. I really do appreciate the opportunity to visit, and everyone here has done a phenomenal job, and you made me giggle. If you can make me laugh, you won. And you all did a great job of keeping my attention, keeping me smiling, and providing such great presentations and information. So I'm looking forward to my next visit.
Okay, excellent. And Monica, why don't you tell us about who were our winners for things we voted on this evening?
Absolutely. For a speaker, it was Dagmara. For table topics, boy, we had a good run there, but Lois was the winner for table topics, and our best evaluator was George.
Excellent. All right. But by my clock, it's 9:02, so we didn't quite make it within an hour. We got a little bit closer.
Not bad.
And Jim Dent has stepped in to be Toastmaster for next week. He's going to work. He's already done some work on recruiting some additional volunteers, and we'll continue to work on that during the week.
Yeah, I got the evaluator slots filled up, David. And so
all right.
all we have
Excellent.
left now is grammarian and table topics master.
All right. Well, so somebody's not going to be able to resist the opportunity to torture their fellow Toastmasters, the table topics master. We ought to be able to get a volunteer for that.
Yeah.
So excellent. Thank you for joining us all. Is there any further business people want to bring up before we break for the week?
David, well, others can leave, and I have, if you can spare a minute for how to share a screen, so that it is going to be helpful for next time.
Okay, I'll try. I'll stay on for a moment and try and go over that for anybody who needs it. And Adrian, you also had something? Adrian, I can't hear you.
LaCroix here next week.
I'm sorry?
Darren LaCroix.
Oh, I'm sorry. Darren LaCroix will be here on the 11th. So,
Okay.
so we have one more regular meeting. We were doing so many workshops, we were almost crowding out the regular meetings, but we're trying to get them on a pace of maybe about once a month is our target. Okay, so yeah, please come back next week, and also keep in mind that we do have a world champion of public speaking visiting with us just the week after next. So have a great week, everybody. Good night. Oh, I'm sorry, Morale, I'll stay on for a moment, and anybody else who's needs help on how to share the screen.
How do I get this back to you? All I have is in meeting down here.
If you go into the participants panel and you look for my name,
okay, there we go.
You click next to it on the thing that says more, and then say make host.
Got it.
So that I don't know whether, yeah, okay. There we go. Thanks very much.
All set. Thanks, Dave.
All right. So let me just try and remind myself. So you do share a screen, and then you have to choose what you're going to share. You can share either your whole desktop or you can share a specific application. And then you have to click the share screen button again. So
Okay, that's what I did, but I would like to do it again. So I am clicking the share screen now, and then I will open up the file, and then I'm doing another share screen. Are you able to see it?
okay, now I can see it.
Oh, why?
So I'm not sure. Yeah. There's always another button to click. That's all I can say. And I'm supposed to be. I'm sometimes play the role of a techie, but I get it wrong too as well. So
yeah, maybe during my speech, probably I did something wrong. So.
Yeah. Well, no, it's technology is out to get us. That's all there is to that.
Thanks, David.
So,
By the way,
right.
this is the pond I made.
Nice.
Of
Very
course,
nice.
the greeneries were developed over the years, but the basic pond was made during that 1 week period.
Okay. Very cool.
Thank you.
All right. See you next week.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Everyone,
Bye-bye.
thank you.